Are human beings being sacrificed? Yes.
Halloween. It's almost over, but you know what? I've got one more trick up my sleeve. This VHS I recently found thrifting. Halloween, Trick or Treat, The Pagan Invasion, Volume 1. And I thought it'd make for a really good video, so let's check this thing out. Welcome back to Fright Club 2024 on the Ectoviolence channel. My name is Alec, and today we're talking about this Halloween Trick or Treat VHS. This is one of those Satanic Panic VHSs, so it has a copyright of 1990 on here. During the actual movie, I believe there's a credit for 1991 though. Satanic Panic videos are some of my favorite videos to come across. I did a whole video on the Satanism Symposium. You can check that out here. So when I found this one, I knew I had to cover it immediately. I was like, we're scanning this tape in and we're going to talk about it. So let's go ahead and pop this tape in, shall we? So immediately the first thing you're going to see is an ad for this 13-part series.
The Pagan Invasion is an explosive new 13-part video series providing a thorough behind-the-scenes examination of today's New Age movement and neo-pagan revival.
The Pagan Invasion, and this is Volume 1, and it's actually been repackaged. This isn't the only version they released. All of the graphics here and stuff are really awesome. It's like, that's the thing about these Satanic Panic tapes, is they're all very visually pleasing to look at. They're very entertaining, like the music is good, and even hearing from Satanists or ex-Satanists and stuff like that, it's always very interesting. All the B-roll footage they're using of trick-or-treaters, and this music could be straight up out of an Unsolved Mysteries type show, you know what I mean? And I think that's what they're going for, because that show was big at this time. And again, I can't emphasize just how much I really appreciate this castle animation. It's so timely, and it's just very stunning to look at. It's obviously, it kind of looks like crap, but that's kind of the vibe, you know? Then the Pagan Invasion logo comes up and you cue the sick guitar lead over that stuff. Halloween perfection. This is a perfect Halloween mood tape. By that I mean you just throw this on in the background while you're carving pumpkins or something. Perfect. You have Chuck and Carol here, and they're going to kind of guide us through the trick-or-treat, Halloween, Pagan Invasion. And they start giving us descriptions of Halloween.
Halloween is a festival that conjures up images of ghosts, skeletons, black cats, witches on broomsticks, and little costumed children scurrying about the neighborhood.
And my biggest takeaway is that all this footage of like the trick-or-treating and everything, it's just amazing.
It is an opportunity to dress up in ghoulish or fanciful costumes, to engage in the fantasy of being a witch or a vampire, ghost or devil. Eager trick-or-treaters solicit candy door to door or bob for apples at Halloween parties. Others brave haunted houses and horror movie marathons.
They briefly talk about, you know, jack-o'-lanterns, the history of jack-o'-lanterns and stuff, and how occult people used to put them outside their house for the devil. And I didn't expect this, but they actually start criticizing horror movies, and they show a lot of specific covers.
While horror films used to be synonymous with B-movies and considered the conventional low-budget industry standby, today they account for nearly 20% of all of the revenue received by feature film producers and distributors.
But specifically, it was like you're seeing Freddy, you're seeing Halloween, Frankenhooker, Blood Diner I saw. And then they have a guy who's talking about how, you know, many films employ witches on the sets. And I'm thinking, man, that'd be sick. That'd be sick as fuck.
Many of them hire practicing witches or Satanists as technical advisors who ensure the authentic reproductions and performances of rituals, sacrifices, spells, and curses.
They even name drop splatter movies, you know what I mean? Like, that's a genre that's very specific, and it's funny that they're mentioning it. Like, I was actually thinking about watching Bad Taste the other day, and they interview people during this too, and they're just talking about, yeah, horror movies are just fun. It's just fun to be able to turn off your brain. And
people like are so hyper during the day, they need to come home and watch something that's like totally unreal so they can release themselves from all the pressures. It's just the type of thing that makes you laugh and forget about life.
Watching people die. Then they're interviewing this guy Glenn, who used to be a Satanist, and I gotta be honest, a lot of what he says is very horrific and kind of a downer. Not fun to talk about stuff. That being said, it also doesn't really seem very true. I mean, this guy's talking about all the rituals that were performed on Halloween, and he's like, yeah, children are dying every Halloween. Lots of children.
To truly understand the significance of Halloween and its role in this mayhem, we must go back to its historic roots.
Carol then goes on to talk about the historic roots of Halloween, all the way through Samhain and its pagan origins. She's taking time to basically ignore the fact that Christianity took all this stuff from paganism, but make it seem like Halloween is just the worst thing you can participate in.
Most of Halloween's customs are the remainders of pagan superstition relating to Samhain, the Druidic New Year. The Druids were the influential priests, magicians and sorcerers of the nature religions that prevailed in early northern Europe. These native beliefs permeated Celtic culture for about 2,000 years, up until the introduction of Christianity.
So then they start talking about ceremonies. They're interviewing like Druid high priestesses, satanic high priestesses. And I gotta say, most of the stuff that some of these people are down for is not too bad, especially the Druids. Pagans in general too, you know, like these people seem pretty chill and they're just trying to make them seem really horrific. I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna go do mushrooms with these people in the woods or anything. You know, I'd probably end up in a bear costume, but we're not going to go down that road. I love how this one guy is introduced as a witch/martial arts expert.
The pagans are all over the place with their covens. If they're not calling themselves witches alone, they are paganistic in their ways.
I bet that's on like his gravestone when he dies. And objectively, it's a pretty sick title. I mean, there's everything on this tape. There's stories about possession and watching people be possessed.
Where one young woman, a nurse, was possessed by, I don't know what it was, but a horrible voice came through her and she passed out.
They talk about the rise of Satanism, modern Satanism, animal sacrifice, all sorts of wild stuff. They talked about interviewing a class full of kids, and they were like, yeah, at the end of it, 80% of the kids said they wanted to kill someone.
In a recent letter to syndicated advice columnist Ann Landers, a concerned parent wrote of a fourth grade teacher who had asked her students to write a short essay on what they would most like to do to celebrate Halloween. 80% of her 9-year-olds expressed the wish to kill somebody.
And you're like, what are you even talking about anymore? Some of the stuff about Halloween, though, is factual and interesting, like the trick-or-treating origins, the jack-o'-lantern origins, even the fact that black cats have supernatural powers. This guy gives an intense speech on the occult power of Satan, right?
Christians can gather together at Halloween and use the night to educate themselves to the dangers of paganism and to take the opportunity to pray and wage spiritual warfare against the powers of darkness in their community.
And it's kind of like climaxing the end of the little tape here. They talk about how meditation is a pathway to deception. Like, there's lots of just absolutely goofy nonsense in this video.
In the list of Enochian demons, Baal is said to be a king, which is of the power of the East. Eastern religions emphasize that spiritual power comes from meditation. The common denominator between Druids, witches, and Satanists is the practice of meditation for the purpose of making contact with the spirits of the dead or disembodied souls.
But if you want to order the other parts of the series, you can call or mail to order.
For more information, contact your local Christian bookstore or call 1-800-828-2290. California residents call 1-800-633-0869.
At a runtime of 56 minutes, this is something you can actually find on eBay for under 20 bucks. And again, I think it's very fun and interesting for a Halloween mood tape. Other than when Glenn's talking. Then it loses the vibes for sure. But these kind of tapes are my favorite out of the obscure and weird tapes to find. And I just couldn't believe that I actually found this thrifting the other day for $2, so had to share it with you guys. If you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching and happy Halloween, guys.